Yep, you get ready to talk about it. KD, KB, and DV. We're part of the V3. Tony V he'll be on at some point. He'll talk at another time. Listen, we got a series tonight. Kim, what's up, man?
What's up, bro? What's going on?
Man, so glad to have you by my side today.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Listen, what's the weather like up there, man?
It's raining. Early today they had tornado warning and all that kind of stuff. It came back to being regular Florida weather. So
I thought I saw that on some forum. Listen, I'm gonna sign out of here and try to come back to get rid of this. Okay, maybe it's gone now. Listen, tonight we're starting what's probably going to be part one of a part two. Kim and I are doing this together tonight, along with you, our viewers, our listeners, and next week we'll expand this topic and bring on some guests that he and I both mutually know that are uniquely qualified and likely from both sides as he is to talk about this. We're asking the question tonight: why is our society so violent? Why do we exist in such a violent society? What makes living in this day in this era so violent? Kim, I'm gonna let you do a lead in, and I'm gonna sign back on so I can try once again to eliminate this echo. Kim,
huh?
I'm gonna let you do a lead in, and I'm gonna sign back on, try to avoid this echo. See if I can get past this echo.
So you
Give
get
us a lead in
that background?
Huh?
You getting all that background feed and everything?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna sign out and sign back on. Hopefully, to eliminate it. But if you just do a lead into this.
Okay, all right. I'll take care of that.
Okay, thanks.
So tonight we're talking about violence and racism in this country. And talking about the violence and the racism, just to talk about some of the stuff that went on this weekend in America. Of course, it's been all over the news, the shooting up in Buffalo, the racially motivated shooting in Buffalo, where 13 were injured, shot, 11 were shot and killed, racially motivated shooting where 18-year-old white male drove over 300 miles to this black part of Buffalo, and he had been there scouting the area out before. He went back there to carry out his assignment. He went there to shoot and kill as many black people as he could kill there in Buffalo. In Houston, he had 2 dead, 3. North Carolina, as quiet as it is, that's my mother's hometown. 8 people shot in Winston-Salem. California, you had the racially motivated shooting at the Presbyterian Church with the Chinese people. Suspect in that case was 68 years old, I believe it was, older guy went there. I mean, so all over this country, there's a lot of violence going on, a whole lot of unnecessary violence going on, and a lot of it is unfortunately racially motivated. So we got to get to we're gonna chop that up these following 2 weeks. Tonight and next week we're gonna talk about that. We want your input. To all our members that are signed on, that are listening in, we want your input tonight. This is going to be a very interactive show. Tonight and next week, we want you to give us your feedback. Tell us what's going on. I'm gonna start out, and I don't know if Dozell's ready for me back. I see he's back with us, but I'm gonna ask this question now, and you can chime in all throughout the show if you want. But I'd like to know what makes people racist. What do you think your thought is? Why people become racist? A lot of different reasons. I asked my wife today. I've been asking other people why you think people become racist. Is it a power struggle? Is it because they want their race to be superior? Is that because they are scared of losing status? There are so many different reasons. I just want to hear what your reason is. So all throughout the show, if you would just answer that question, and we're going to start off with that, because if we can find out why people are racist, maybe we can find out what we need to do to stop them from being racist. So I see Mike Anderson. Mike, what's happening, bro? I appreciate you tuning in. Powell, Henry says all of the above. Join in with us in this question tonight. I want to hear all my listeners. I want to hear what you got to say about this, because, like I said, if we can find out why people are racist, maybe we can find out what we need to do to stop them from being racist. I wore this shirt especially tonight. I know some people have seen it. It says, "Dear racism, I'm not my grandparents. Signed these hands." And that's what I feel about it. I have no room for racism. I have no tolerance for racism. I see Fern has lack of knowledge of one another's culture. Very good answer. Very good answer. I think it's all of the above, like Henry said, and all of them are great answers. The power struggle, I wrote that down. Mac, I had that written down. I had what Henry said, all of the above. I had what Fern said about the not knowing enough about each other's culture, and Fern and I can relate to that because we had that conversation. Those are what you think the reason is why people become racist, bro.
I think some of it's generational. I think some of it is sheer ignorance, meaning that they don't know about us or we don't know about them. So we have formed conclusions, and we act on those conclusions. I'm gonna follow you, but I want to see that tie into the racism and the violence. I want to get to that.
And I agree with that. I mean, a lot of the racism leads to violence. It's crazy how that happens, but racism a lot of times leads to violence. If people were racist and they were peaceful racists, maybe it wouldn't be a bad thing. You know, people, you just go to your side of your corner of the world and do what you do or whatever. But I see Latoya Williams has fear. Fear is possibly a reason for people being racist. Some great answers. I'm writing all these down because, like I said, this is a two-part show. We're going to follow up on it next week as well. And so all your answers are important to us. And all of them are correct answers. I mean, all of them are part of it. And that's what we want to know, the different reasons why people become racist. My answer is I think it's a power issue. That just like this young man who did the shooting up in Buffalo, he said it was the, what did they call it? He has a name for it. What's the name for it? He had a name for it for losing their
the manifesto thing.
Yeah, but it was something that they called it. Tucker Carlson talks about it all the time. They're scared of losing their what's it called? It'll come to me in a minute. I'm getting old, but I'd really like to hear your answers on it. So if you come up with more than one answer, put them down in that. I'm writing down all these answers. We're gonna chop this up all tonight and all next week, and we're gonna see if we can get to the bottom of some of this stuff, man. I'm sick of racism. Violence is one thing. Sick of it as well, but this racism thing is really, really killing me. I'm getting tired of it. So
I like what James said about people are not born racist; they're taught to be racist. I think that's an external. It's not a quality, but it's an external. Well, for lack of a better word, it's an external attribute that the society that we learn from societally. No, you're not born with that hate gene to another race. I agree.
Natural order. I see your answers, Mike. I got you. I'm writing all these answers down, by the way. So I'm recording them. But I see what you're saying, Mike. Natural order and genetic annihilation as well. So. We're good. Are we waiting on something, or you good, Dozell? You muted.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try some. Okay, look like we're working pretty good right now.
Yeah.
If it comes back, I'm gonna try some headphones. See if we can eliminate this echo.
You don't have another iPad close to your phone or something close to you, do you? But anyway, to keep the show rolling, the topics are violence and racism. Violence, like I say, racism brings on a lot of the violence. But some violence is not racially motivated. A lot of it is black on black. A lot of it is just outright violence. And we talk about violence. I'd like to talk about violence in America. This country was built on violence. It was built on violence because of the way it became America, and it's been violent since then. People talk a lot about black on black crime and black on black violence and all that, but this country has been violent long before black on black crime became big, and it's I'm sure it's been around, but before it's got as bad as it is right now. So violence is another issue that we're going to discuss the next 2 weeks. Dozell, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the country born on violence, and I was talking. One of the reasons I got to pre-production so late, I was talking to a friend who was reminding me that that we have this inborn violence towards each other that has been perpetuated since the 1600s or the 1800s, or that has taught us self-hatred, and we perpetrate it on each other. However, the scripture says there will always be wars and rumors of wars. It didn't take too long into the third chapter of the first book of the Bible that Cain slayed his brother. So violence is just what this nation, what this world was given over to when humans fell in the Garden of Eden, and it's just like everything else, it evolves into greater forms. Now we have a nuclear war. We have nuclear warheads where us and Russia can kill each other 8 times over. So it's just evolved, and that's like the ultimate.
I agree. Might just put a statement up there, and I'm trying to get the producer to put that back up real quick. Says 14 words is a reference to the most popular white supremacist slogan in the world. We must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. The slogan was coined by David Lane, a member of the white supremacist terrorist group known as the Order, and Lane died in prison in 2007. It'd be interesting to know what he went to prison for. But that's strong right there, Mike. That's very strong. White supremacists want to secure the future for their children, and that's part of that power struggle that we talked about, losing their status, losing their power struggle, and that's exactly what I'm trying to think of what they were saying. What this guy here in Buffalo did the shooting for, he's worried about, and I'm trying to think of the word that he used. I can't think of it, but it has everything to do with losing their status. Tucker Carlson talks about it all the time. A lot of the Republicans on Fox Network talk about it all the time now. A lot of people coming in, running the country that are non-American, or they're American. They're not born in this country or whatever. When they're trying to come into office and running for different parts of office and all. And that's one thing I think that is that power struggle that they're worried about, losing their status, and that's a big part of people being racist. So. Destructive Minds and Hearts and Government Position. That's from Henry Glenn. I know everybody's able to read it. Toy, I don't know if I asked you that question, Meta Producer. Do you have a response to that question? Okay, coming back. Okay, Dozell's coming back. I got you. We're trying to see if we can get some more responses to racism and violence. I don't know if Tasha is tuned in yet. I know she said she was going to try and tune in and get some people to tune in. Fern, I know you and I know this. We sat down and we had this long conversation about race, and when we first met each other, that's how we met each other, because of the topic, the conversation on race. People not knowing of each other's culture was your answer that you put down earlier, And that's something that I agree with totally with you. That's a great reason. Mike he was deliberate, and it went off before I finished, and tactical. Uh, he was deliberate and tactical. Okay, but yeah, for we that I know we had our conversation about race, and you came to me, and you know, you were saying that you wasn't really familiar with a lot about the black race and all, and you want to just find out and want to just sit down and talk, and that's what we did. I think that's what needs to take place. I think if a person is questionable about another one's race, instead of attacking that race, sit down and talk to somebody. Ask that person, hey, can we sit down and talk? Let's chop it up. Let's talk about, you know, the difference in your culture and my culture. What makes us different? What makes us different, and why are we different, and what can we do to come together? There's nothing wrong with being different. There's nothing wrong at all about being different, having different races. We're all raised differently. We're products of our own environment. So there's nothing wrong with being raised different. But what can we do to make things better for all races, not just two races sitting there talking, but for all races. So I would love to see that happen. More conversation, more communication. You good now, Dozell?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign off and try another device. This is just acting up all over. I'll be right back.
Does anybody have anything to add in about the violence in this country? I know I've been speaking on race, but anything you want to add about violence in this country? Because what we're gonna do, I'm getting all these suggestions from you and everything, because we're gonna chop it up the latter half part of the show. We want to discuss some of the things that our our listeners are adding tonight, along with some of the topics that I already have written down. So feel free to chime in with them. I'm looking at different things that people are actually sending me texts as well. So here tomorrow in Jacksonville, we're having for all my listeners here in Jacksonville, we're having a prayer vigil to end violent crime, covering our city, protecting our youth. And then they're inviting pastors and community leaders, students, and citizens. It's Wednesday. It's not tomorrow. It's Wednesday, May 18th at 12 p.m. at City Hall atrium. I see John Power has added, as for violence, there is no respect for the sake. You have a problem reading it. There's no respect for power, the human life. Listen to the music, play the video games, and you'll see. I'm not sure the kids of today can separate fact from fiction. Okay, John, that's nice. That's nice. He talks about the video games, how violent the video games and all are, and kids not being able to separate that. That's been an issue for a couple of years. We know that for a fact that some kids are actually trying to live out those video games. Fern is saying, and we continue to discuss our differences and how I don't see any difference between us. We love one another, and that's what counts. Amen, Fern. I got you, sister. That's and for y'all that don't know Fern, I won't tell her age, but she's an older white female. I'm an older black male. I say an older black male. But Tori Williams says the violence will get worse the closer we get to change. But I'm an older black male. But we met. She saw some of my posts on Facebook, just talking about people coming together or whatever. Linda Scott's here. Hey, Linda Scott Houston. We got they want to label him with mentally illness, but there is no difference between the two, mental and hate. I've been saying that, Linda. I totally agree, and I've been saying that. Ain't nothing wrong with that, Joker. They should have. Well, I won't say that. But
Hey, Kim.
Whites are losing power, and they are now retaliating. That's from Henry Glenn. Yeah, go ahead, Dozell.
I want my Johnny Power. Do we still have this? I don't know what's going on today. This is a different device. Johnny Power, I work with, brother, I reacquainted with here on Facebook. He was the first to throw in that this young man in Buffalo is mentally ill, and I watched until I had to leave to a series of meetings, and I was just wondering what data would Johnny have to verify that he's mentally ill. I know he played that card when he was stopped last year in high school or something, when they monitored his post or something. I have a vague memory of it. But so we get into the conversation about mentally ill or playing that card, and I'm just very concerned about that.
When he was in school, he allegedly wrote a paper or something about a killing, and that's when he got the police investigated it, and they found that they tried to say that he had some mental issues there. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but for a guy to travel to a place 300 some miles away from where he lives to scope it out, and to scout it, and then to come back and carry through with what he had written down in this manifesto to go back and follow through with it. I don't know how much mental illness you can give that. That's somebody who had a plan and they mapped it out and they followed through with it.
Yeah, I was really hoping my friend Johnny could come on and because he raised that issue in a post before I had to sign off, and I was just wanting to see if he had some more data or information to substantiate true mental illness as opposed to that being the card that's being played, maybe for seeking freedom or whatever here. I just yeah. So Johnny, if you will elaborate, we really would like to discuss that. Go ahead, Kim. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I see Henry Glenn is what is the government doing in regards to help with this serious matter? I was looking at CNN earlier today. There's a reporter from CNN, Victor Blackwell. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Victor Blackwell, but he was in Jacksonville on the media for a while. He reported with Channel 12 News here. Very, very good journalist. I mean, he's thorough. He covers himself. He's not one way, but he was on the other day. He actually broke down today because he was talking about this issue and with the shootings. And he's talking about he's covered maybe 15 different mass shootings. And some of them racially motivated, some not. Just the fact that there's mass shootings that he's covered. And he actually, like I said, broke down about it. He started crying right there on the media, right there on TV while he was reporting. And you say, what is the country doing about it? We keep saying that this is the reason, this is the reason. It's a Republican Democrat thing, talking about the weapons, and all that, the rights for guns and all that. And everything, we keep talking about it, but nobody's did anything about it yet. How many more shootings, how many more lives is it going to take before we actually stop talking Republican and Democrats and start actually taking care of the issue at hand, the people losing their lives, because everybody's killing each other. And when are we going to start handling that? When is somebody going to take that seriously? And I agree with him. He said he's handled 15 this year. That's crazy. That's crazy. We're only in May. Linda says, Kim, I'm with you. Being mentally ill will not allow you to will not allow you to put that kind of plan together, or to allow you to put that kind of plan together and follow through. See, I mean, that's not mental illness in my opinion. And I like I said, I know what they said about the paper he wrote in high school, and they tried to label him as mental issues back then. But you don't drive 300 miles. You can't be mentally ill and drive 300 miles more than 2 times to a city and scout it out. Go back to your place, load up your weapons, everything that you had in your car. This guy went there and shot and killed. He shot 13 people, killed 11. It was a racially motivated shooting. I don't know if you saw his weapons. He had the word NIGGER written on the end of his rifle, and he had a bunch of stuff written on the butt of his rifle. That's premeditated. In law enforcement, we call that premeditation. That's not a mental illness. And John saying to do what he did, he had to be crazy, in my opinion. I agree, John. News accounts reported he was treated for mental illness. That doesn't diminish or mitigate what he did. No way. And I agree with what you're saying, John. I agree with that. I don't think they should let this guy plead mental illness. I don't think they should let him get away with that on this one. This one has too much premeditation in it, and I agree with what you're saying. It doesn't mitigate what he did. So Phyllis is chiming in. Hey Phyllis, I saw you just coming on. I hope you're feeling better, sis. Definitely not mentally ill. Just too much premeditation involved in this guy situation for it to be mental ill. I mean, something's got to be wrong with a person to do what he did. He actually pointed the gun at one person in the store. The person turned and yelled no to him, and he apologized. Oh, I'm sorry, and turned his weapon away from him. So I don't know if that person was the same race as he was, and that's why he did, or for some reason he didn't take that person out. So I mean, it's a lot of things involved in this particular thing that in this particular shooting that to me would be good arguments in court for him not being able to use mental illness in his case.
Hey Kim,
yes, sir.
We're at the halfway point, and I originally was going. I had a Dane dog that I was going to do tonight, but due to the seriousness of this matter, I'm gonna skip that tonight and just do a little short commentary and dedicated to the good people of Buffalo. Madam Producer, just work with me. So we've asked the questions: how many more times will it take? Kim's take is that it's not a Republican or a Democrat or right or a left issue. It's not a armed or a disarmed issue. It's not a issue of culture. It's not an issue of socioeconomics. Then what is it? What are these factors that keeps causing us to have funerals of people, as the song would say, gone too soon? What is it that caused somebody to be filled with such hatred, to form a manifesto and write on guns, and to go into a synagogue, or to go into an Asian temple, to go into a community that is highly populated by African Americans, to go into a suburb of Atlanta and kill mostly Asian nail technicians? What is it? Is that mental illness? Is that condition externally? Is it done by right-wing media? Was it done several years ago when it became popular to point a finger at different minority groups and say they're rapists, they're killers? All they do is form gangs. Are these the things that cause us to hate each other? I'm choosing to be positive and optimistic, and positivity, optimism, and faith tells me, when you combine beginning with faith, it tells us that we as a people are our brothers. We are our sisters' keepers. We are called divinely to love each other, to care about each other, to reach out to each other, to wipe each other's tears, to care about the concerns of each other. What keeps us from doing that? Is it TV? Is it social media? Is it internal? Is it external? Is it a parental? Is it do we get that at home? Do we grow up in that? What is it that causes us to have these divisive mindsets that makes one community think that it's superior to another, or that another is inferior, or you have a right that others don't have, or the fear? I've been listening to the show tonight mainly as an outsider, but to have fear that you're losing out because one group is becoming larger, or one group is becoming politically, socially, economically empowered, and it's a threat to you. What is it? What is it that makes communities kill each other? What is it? Maybe the more relevant question is, what can we do about it? Well, I'm going to give some anecdotes. And I know, Kim, you said it's not about Republican or Democrat. I'll say this. We've got to say to the gun lobbyists, and I know guns are going to be proliferated through the ends of time. And the question is, who gets the right to carry the guns? You'll have these in other countries that we will refer to as inferior third world countries, these mass shootings, where people obviously have differences. They obviously think differently from one group to another, but they have a general sense about themselves that prevents them from going into another's community and just wiping them out. What are we going to do about it? What's this dialogue going to do about it? What change is it going to make? How is it going to allow us to make a change? What young person are we going to mentor and and speak into their lives to reach out and understand the differences in others, and to agree to come together on the similarities. Because we're divinely created, we all have more similarities than we have differences. Are we going to speak to groups of people? Are we going to touch communities one person at a time? Are we going to reach out with our sphere of influence to preach love and not hate? Because that's the root cause of violence. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? More Go Get Good Creation, go ahead and tell us what you do to make us look good on this forum. What are we going to do? Okay, so we're back, KB.
Okay, we're back, and Vern is chiming in. So sad we're in a toxic culture of party line and or race issues. If we as citizens of our country can't come together to overcome our differences, absolutely nothing will change. The murderer should be responsible for his actions and be convicted accordingly. I agree. And John had put something up right before you started your segment, Dozell, and produce. Okay, here we go. No, oh no, not creating a defense for this guy. Prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. I agree, John. I agree totally, bro, on that one. And same thing with you, Fern. I agree with you totally. This guy, I don't think he has a defense. There's no defense to they can defend him. Latasha says evil has no mercy. I just don't think this guy has a good argument in court. I mean, you drive to a city 300 some miles away from you more than twice. Mac is chiming in. Allow a problem to exist and provide the solution that strengthens your position. Politics is war without bloodshed. War is politics with bloodshed. And I want to correct something. Those are you saying that I said that it's just not a Republican or a Democrat thing. I was saying that because that's what Victor Blackwell said earlier. That wasn't me saying it. I think that the Republicans, Democrats need to start putting this aside, this red and blue junk, and just, man, we got too much going on in this country right now. We need to just stop all this foolishness with the arguing, bickering over red and blue, and come together and solve some of these issues. You got too much going on right now in this country. Fern is saying love one another. It's not everyone though. It's a minority that talks louder than those of us that choose love over hate. That's the bottom line. So many different issues. You see how the people are chiming in. Linda chimed in earlier with some nice advice. A lot of people chimed in with good advice about it. In some of the situations, it's a black and white issue, and it's becoming a Republican or Democrat thing because you know that the race difference between Republicans and Democrats. Vote for candidates that address our concerns with accountability. Mike, that's something I started doing a long time ago, man. I'll vote outside my party lines if I think that person's right for the position. We got a lot of people that don't vote outside that. They'll just say they'll never vote outside their party lines, but these days you have to, because people they'll fall for anything. How can someone love when love is not shown to them? That's a good point, Henry. That's a good point. But I think everybody, loving and violence is two different things. Rittenhouse set a dangerous precedent. He did. That's coming from Mike Anderson. So a lot of good comments. I agree with what you were saying, Dozell. How do we get to that point? You know, Victor Blackwell, the reporter from CNN today, was saying, let's stop playing around with this and tossing it under the rug, and another shooting happens. We talk about it, we sweep it back under the rug, another shooting happens. We need to address this issue, take some action, not just talk about it. We need to start being about it. Got to take some action, man. I know my boy Q talks about it all the time. We could talk about things all the time, but until we take action, it's just a conversation.
Yeah, I particularly like Fern and Henry's comment earlier that people don't know God, and that's why we the hate is prevalent more so. Looks like kind of is more highlighted than the love. He's right about that, but some of these issues we know they are theological and spiritual in nature, and that's the basis for everything. But we're going to live in a secular society where everybody's not going to be attached. But there's just some basic human decencies that we have to relate to each other and and encourage each other with and mentor each other and expect of each other. There's just some human decencies. Like we see what's going on in Ukraine. I'm hearing some people say, even if it means ultimately it's the end of time, well, you know, that when we go to the nuclear war on that, well, you know, that's a pretty heavy price to pay, but it's just one group or one man, a la Hitler, who feels that they're superior or they're threatening, and all of these things that our viewers have been saying today that leads to racism and schisms between people, different groups of people. All of those things is what's contributing to the conflict over in Europe today. And it just there has to be an understanding. We have to come to the table. We have to sit down and talk through this stuff and just overcome the violence. I really would like to get Tasha on next week, Kim. I didn't, and I'd like to get Tangela Sears on also. And you're also a victim of violence. We all are victims of the violence that has torn away at families and communities, and we need to come up with some solutions and let this show be a solution driven. And even as we end, and we have a whiteboard in our hands, and we're coming up with some solutions. You meet with some groups on your end. I was up there last week. I kind of felt like you. I walked the avenue for a different purpose, but I just kind of got a feeling of your spirit walking the avenue, trying to ask the young brothers to put down the guns and understand each other and understand that it's bigger than whatever's causing us to do this. What are we going to do about it?
She's always game to talk about. I told her to speak to some of her Facebook friends that have lost, because it's a circle of that's been formed of people here who have lost their kids to violence, and we formed this little circle. So I asked Tasha to reach out to some of her friends and get them to come on the show as well tonight, and hopefully they'll be here for next week's show. Tasha will definitely try and be here. I'm going to reach out to Brother Muhammad, see if he'll come on. John, to answer your question, is Moscato Sweet Red, brother. He was asking what type of wine, what kind of wine. So it's Moscato Sweet Red. But yes, yeah, those are. I didn't know you walked the avenue. I would love to get out there with you, man. That's my thing, man. You know, I love getting out there, walking the avenue, talking to the fellas on the block. So it's a different group hanging out there now. So it's a totally different group that's hanging out there. It's a younger crowd. You got that, and these guys just don't care about anything. I don't know if I ever told this story on the show real quick. I'm going to say it real quick. I know we're on time restraints, but one day I was walking the avenue, and on the east side of Jacksonville, the east side, we call it out east. It's very close-knit. People don't come over to the east side to hang out. They'll come over, handle their business, and they'll leave. I'm talking about people, the bad elements, any element. They come to the east side, they'll do what they got to do, and they'll leave. One day I'm walking the block, and for those that don't know, I walk the streets on the east side. Try and do it 3 times a week. It's been more or less two times a week here lately. Telling the guys put down the gun, stop killing each other. So I'm walking one day and I see these 4 guys standing on the corner, and they're very young guys. They're 16, 17 years old. And I walk up to them, and I notice one of the guys out there I don't recognize him. Most of the people on the east side, I'm an east sider, so I recognize a lot of guys that are out there. I drive the east side every day. I walk it like 2 to 3 times a week. So I see this guy and I don't recognize him. So I walk up to him. I walk up to the four guys. Hey man, my name's Kim Varner. You know, I'm a retired police officer. I'm just walking the block telling everybody to put down the guns, man, stop killing each other. You know, I don't care what kind of hustle you're involved in. Let's just stop killing each other. The guy that I didn't recognize, he was looking at me real strange, and I just, my hair on the back of my neck was standing up while I was talking to him. I was a cop for 26 years. John Dozell, y'all know police work, when your hair stands up on the back of your neck, you pay attention a little bit more. So hair standing up on the back of my neck, and I'm talking to this guy. I work narcotics. I was involved in 6 shootings. I know to watch for bulges around a person's waistband, for weapons being under their, tucked in their waist and all that type thing. I look down, I notice he does have a bulge around in his waistband, right in the front. And right in the front in his waistband area. And so as I'm talking to him, he finally just let go. And he called me everything but a child of God. Man, that's rude. You walk up in the middle of our conversation. He called me old school. Old school, that's rude. You walk up in the middle of our conversation. They start cursing me. Called me everything. You know, it felt like he's been disrespectful and all this. First thing I said, because I know these guys on the streets hate to be disrespected. Hey, bro, I'm not trying to disrespect you, man. This is what I do. I do it all the time. I'm out here. I've never seen you before. I said, I've seen these guys, never seen you before, but this is what I do. Yeah, man, that's disrespectful. You walk up and he's, like I say, steady cursing. All of a sudden, he blades his body away from me, pulls his shirt up, pulls his gun out, points it at me. So he's got it pointed at my stomach. And he got his gun pointed. He's holding it sideways like they do in the movies. And he's pointing it at my stomach. He's probably 2 feet away from me. I could have easily reached out and raked it out of his hand before he would have got the shot off, possibly. That's one of the things we learn in self-defense. I'm a self-defense instructor. And that's what I thought about doing and taking my gun out and eliminating the threat. But that wouldn't be a good look. I'm out there trying to save lives, and here I am taking a life. So it didn't do it, and I just kept talking. And as I kept talking to the guy, it felt like I had a real protection over me, coming from either God or Desi, I don't know from where, but it was coming from up above. And so it felt like I just had like an umbrella over my head. Say, keep talking to this guy. Keep talking to him. I got you. Ain't nothing gonna happen to you. Keep talking to him. So I kept talking to him. And as I'm talking to him, man, they ain't been disrespectful. I got my hands up in the air. And I'm just trying to out-talk him, really, to keep his mind occupied. And I'm watching that gun. It's pointed at my stomach. First thing I think about, man, it's going to hurt to shoot me in my stomach. And so one of the other guys finally chimed in and said, man, it's Desi Daddy. The guy said, who? He said, it's Desi Daddy. He out here all the time doing this. That's what he do. He out here all the time doing this. So the guy, he said, and apparently the guy knew Desi. A lot. Desi was well known on the east side. He lowers the gun down. And now it's pointing at my crotch. So now I'm really kind of like, oh man, you know, this ain't gonna be a good thing here. So I finally tell the guy, I say, hey man, look, I'm gonna step off like you're telling me to do. I'm gonna do what you're telling me to do. I'm gonna step off, but just know that I'm not being disrespectful to you. You know, I'm gonna see you again out here, and if I do, you're gonna be the person that I come up and talk to, and you ain't got to pull no gun on me, you know. You're the reason why I'm out here, you know, and you don't have to pull a gun on me next time you see me, bro. But I'm approach you when I see you again. And so I start backing away, and as I backed away from him, you know, I kept my eye on him about 20 got about 20 steps away from him. I turned and I walked away, and I'm you know, he kind of panicking. I hope this guy don't shoot me in my back when I'm walking away, because these young kids don't have no disrespect they don't have any respect for older guys, for the elders, especially somebody out there trying to tell them the right way to do something. And but when I turned the corner, as soon as I turned the corner, I got real mad. I said, man, this should just pull the gun on me. I need to go back here and handle this, you know. And I ran into one of the guys off the east side one of the shooters out there, one of the guys that I've been mentoring for the last 4 years or so. We have a great relationship now. And I saw him, and I said, man, he said, what's up, Pops? I said, man, little dude just pulled the gun on me around the corner. He went straight to his car, got his gun out of his glove box, and said, where you at, Pops? Where you at? Went looking for the guy around the corner. Of course, I didn't tell him who he was or anything, but that's just the problem that we're facing on the streets. I shared that just to say this, that's what's going on out there on the streets, man. These young dudes don't care nothing about life. They don't care nothing about their own life. Like I've said many times on this show, on this podcast, that if they live to see 25, they think they've lived their lifetime. For me, when I was growing up, I wanted to live to be 70, 80 years old or older, but I wanted to reach 70 or 80. These guys, they hit 25, They go on Facebook, Instagram. Man, I made it. God done blessed me to reach to see 25. You know, they think they've lived their lifetime. You know, they don't expect to live past 25, and a lot of them aren't living past 25. So that's what we're facing out there. You know, you talked about walking the streets, those. That's what made me get on this long tangent, I guess. But that's what we're facing out there. That's the violence that we keep talking about. That we're facing on a daily basis. It's going out on a daily basis. We had a guy get shot in the middle of downtown last night. They found him in a parking lot dead at one of the little restaurants right downtown Julia Street. Julia and Adams, I think it was. Everybody from Jacksonville, you know what it is. It's in the heart of downtown. You know, people don't care anything about. We've had shootings right across from police substations. We had shootings in the parking lot of police substations. People don't care anything about the law anymore. All they care about is pulling their guns and creating havoc, you know. So that's what we're dealing with, man. And I don't know if the answer is God's people getting out and walking the streets and doing that. We've been preaching that in the churches forever. But and a lot of times the churches stay right there in those four walls. They never go outside of those four walls. And I know at my son's funeral, I got up and said that I was going to be walking the streets, you know, and that every side of town get ready to see me because I'm coming. And especially the area where that the boys are from that killed my son. I want them to know, hey, I'm coming. I'm coming out there. And I've been over there numerous times. I went over there the day that he was killed. I went over there looking for the guys who killed him. So, but I mean, it's just, that's what we're facing with this violence thing. And it's all over the country. It's all over the country, not just in Jacksonville. I'm gonna give it back to you, Dozell. I don't take too much time up.
No. I just want to say, you mentioned that that young brother, you know, turn that gun like they do in this, you know, I think we first start seeing it like Boys in the Hood and all that stuff. I want to ask our viewers, and you too, Vonner, how much really does TV influence the culture? TV and now social media. How much what I heard you said, these guys go on Facebook and IG and talk about, I made it this far. How much do you think that influenced them to go out and commit violence?
You know, some people at these video games, they sit home and play video games all day. You know, kids ain't getting outside playing no more. They sitting inside playing. Grand Theft Auto was around for years, man, and I hated that game. I hate it. I wouldn't let my kids play with Grand Theft Auto. So the video games play a big part of it. Linda, I saw what you said too. No, I ain't gonna quit, baby. I definitely ain't no quit in me. I'm gonna stay out there, you know. I'm definitely not gonna quit. But and like I said, I felt like I had the real protection. Never even faced me. I've had guns thrown in my face before as a police officer buying drugs. So it's not a fun thing, but no, I don't quit. I got to keep doing what I'm doing, especially with this mission I'm on now. I'm gonna keep doing that. But yeah, those are. I'm just trying to answer your question. It plays a big part of it. Turning the gun sideways, that's a TV thing, you know. Mm-hmm. Holding the gun sideways while you're pointing at, that's gangster from TV. You know, nobody do that in real life unless you're trying to emulate what they're seeing on TV. So I see John has one actor is killed on Friday, and he's back on the show the next week. Death isn't real to them; it's terminal in life, in real life, as you guys well know. You know, it's a thing where these guys just don't have no respect for anybody. And if they just had respect for the elders and respect for people, respect for authority, things would be a little bit different.
You think that's going to change?
I can tell you what will change it, and I know it'll work if people will start walking the streets consistently, not 1 week or 1 day out the month, but for me, it's working for me because I'm talking about shooters from the east side, shooters and people that I know that are out there doing things they shouldn't be doing, dope slingers or whatever. When I start walking the streets and concentrating on just the east side, where they can see my face at least 3 times a week, and show them that I'm being consistent with it, and they start. A lot of these guys don't have a father figure to look up to, a father or uncle figure to look up to, a strong role model to look up to. They have role models. Their role models are in and out of prison, the revolving door. You know, so it's nothing for them to be going in and out of prison. They see they're products of their environment. You and I products of our environment. We had good, positive, strong influences in our life. Both our parents, you know, one being a disciplinarian, one being an educator. We had very good influences. Those were we're products of their environment, our environment, but we had strong moral, you know, people to follow. These guys, some of these guys, and you can say, man, these guys know right from wrong. Yeah, they do. But when they constantly see their own relatives living one way, police chasing them talking about the police, ain't you know, and just different things. They're products of their environment, man. You know, and that's what they see. Henry says they cry like girls when a judge gives them that lot of time. I agree with you, Henry. I worked at the public defender's office, and I've seen that many times. But it's a sad thing that they get to that point, and they get to that point because they're following their people that they grew up around or whatever. You know, they're easily influenced because they didn't have that strong moral thing at home. Fern says, KV, I have so much love and respect for what you do. Thanks, Fern. I appreciate it. It's not, I can't take credit for that. I give it to the man upstairs for letting me get out there and do it. I enjoy doing it. That's what I love doing. But that's the thing, though. I think it's a lack of respect, man. I think once we start gaining that lack of respect, once we start gaining respect back for authority, for your elders, things will start changing. And I know it will happen because I've seen it happen on the people I've influenced on the east side. I know it can change. I know it will. But Jacksonville is the biggest city in the country. It's going to take way more than just me.
You know, from your mindset, from a theological perspective, it says that it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. But and as a preacher, you're often faced with that strata. You're taught to preach love, to preach upward mobility, to preach advancement, promotion, but you see all around you the culture, the society is only being dragged down, and you see evil on the throne while love and righteousness and those things are just kind of teetering and just surviving. And so we know how the world will at some point come to an end violently. So it's for what you do, and many people like you, crusaders like Tasha and Linda and Tangela and others, Fern, Phyllis, Johnny. I know you may not do it by walking the street. Henry, I know you touch a lot of young men in the course of your day. We got to keep plugging away. We can't give up. We cannot give up. The stakes are too high. We cannot give up. We won't do it as I see it tonight. I just want to really keep this show just as it is. This is a serious matter, and thank you, bro, for bringing it to the forefront the other day. Only God knows we didn't think that there would be precipitous that would give us more information, such as what happened in the cases on Saturday and even on yesterday up in Jacksonville. But we're going to pick this up next week. We hope to have some people from the Circle of Brotherhood, Brother Muhammad and others. We hope to have Tasha and Tangela here to talk about being the victims and to hear their side about the struggle, that you don't give up, you don't give in to hate, you don't give in, because hatred plus hatred equals hatred, and all we have is a society of violence. We want to put together some solutions. In fact, we're going to come with solutions next week. We want all of you to join us 8 o'clock next week, and we're going to sit down and say, how can we overcome this violent society? I still believe. I know you do, bro.
Mike says, truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways the future, and behind the dim unknown standeth God with the shadow, keeping watch above his own. I like that.
Song.
I know it sounds like I was in first grade trying to read it, but I like that, Mike. John is asking, I've asked about becoming a mentor, advisor to young black kids in our area and got crickets. I am concerned. John, I'm going to tell you something. Don't give up on that, bro. A lot of people ask me, I travel the country now talking to police agencies, bringing the community together. And a lot of people say, well, can a white officer do it in the black community? You darn right a white officer can do it in the black community, man. We got a guy, Tommy, I can't think of his last name, out in Little Rock, Arkansas, has been doing it for years. And people won't commit crime when he comes to work. He's a white officer in the hood in the black area of town. They don't commit crime when he comes to work because they don't want him to they don't want to embarrass him. So yeah, don't give up on that, bro. To all our listeners that tuned in tonight, Latoya, Linda, Henry, Matt, Tasha, Fern, John, Phyllis, I hope I got everybody. Linda, I appreciate you being here, Linda. Please join in next week. Join in next week and let's finish this thing, this conversation up. Let's finish it up. Appreciate y'all coming tonight. Dozell, I'm gonna turn it back over to you, brother.
Hey, we're out next week. Next week we'll have some solutions to the violence, and we're here. You all who have been firsthand victims of the violence, and we're throw these solutions out. And John, right on, man. You know, our brother Steve Thomas, I understood, worked the PAL right over there in the heart of the hood. So it's worth fighting. I'm through there quite a bit now. I know you have more influence than I do, but if there's some way I can connect you with dealing with the person in the business community that there just the other day, if there's somebody that I can connect you to that can get you as a forum into dealing with some of our black youth in their community, that I'll certainly do. Dialogue with Dozy, we'll see you next week. We're going to be solution-based. We're going to hear testimonies of what some of our victims, parental victims of this violence have done. We're going to look at the global violence, but we're going to focus on home, how we can and will make it better. We'll see you next Monday night. Dialogue with Dozy. Kim, love you, bro.
Y'all have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. Great job, Meta Producer.